For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life.
What are some good qualities of a good teacher?
I think having a lot of patience, having a lot of compassion, hopefully passion for the subject that they're teaching, liking students and understanding what they need in terms of balance. Probably flexibility is a big part of it as well. But I think the main thing is just really having a love for what you're teaching and for students.
I think one of the things that you need to do is you need to care, and you have a passion of what you're doing. And if you can inspire somebody, and if you inspire students and other members of the community, I think that's a good start.
So what we look for in a teacher when we're hiring is, first of all, are they passionate about teaching? And more importantly, are they passionate about working with kids? Because we want somebody who's really invested in kids, a kid magnet, if you will. Obviously, they need to know their content. They need to be an expert in their field. But, you know, students don't really care how much a teacher knows until they know how much a teacher cares. And so we're looking for somebody who can really understand teenagers, understand what their needs are, connect with them. Building that relationship is most important. So that's what we're looking for in a teacher, and obviously, again, somebody who is an expert in their content.
That's a very hard question to answer because there's many different qualities that makes a good teacher, and some qualities that are good in others are not good in other cases as well.
I guess how flexible they can be. I think that's a big point. Sometimes you can't be able to do things, and yeah.
Commitment, you know, like patience with the students.
I think maybe some of the qualities that would be best would be patient, number one, able to work with everyone, so not discriminatory, and able to actually get along with the students. So you don't want to be, you know, awkward with the students, but maybe be able to join in, joke around a bit, you know.
How are you being assessed by the admin?
Currently, we have what we call a TPR, Teacher Performance Review, and we go through, there's a set of 5, or is it 6 standards, that we go through, including contribution to the community and the effectiveness of teaching, assessments, and all that.
And then we meet, like the Fine Arts Department meets with Mr. Neihart, and so we set our goals, and then they kind of come in and constantly monitor how the classes are going, and then at the end of the semester we have a real conversation and talk about if we've met our goals, where we're at with our goals. So I like it at this school. It's pretty personal, and so it's not like somebody's watching over you, you know, and saying you're doing this wrong or this right, but it's more, where do you want to go? How do you want to grow as a teacher, and you know, how do you feel you're doing with your students, and then you have a conversation about it.
It's interesting because supervising teachers and evaluating teachers is a really complex thing, and obviously the more we could spend time in a teacher's room, the more we'd get to see what they're doing.
You know, I know they're very busy, but I love the admin to come into my classes because I want the admin to know what we're doing, and I guess just maybe more feedback as they come in. You know, I saw this happening and that happening, and have you tried this? And because they're professionals, you know, they're PhDs.
Even though we go in 3 or 4 times throughout the semester, those are just snapshots, and they don't really capture even close to everything that the teacher's doing in there. The most important evaluation piece is the teacher reflecting on his or her own professional practice in the area of learning, teaching, collaboration, communication, and contribution to school culture, and then the time that they spend in their professional learning communities, working with other teachers. That's what is going to make a good teacher great, or a great teacher even better.
Yes, there are some things that need to be changed, I think, or improved, such as the amount of time teachers are being visited, but that can also be within teachers themselves.
Actually, we do have some teachers who do take the time on their own planning period to go in and observe other teachers. And I think that that's really powerful. And I always hear that they pick up little nuggets of things that they could do differently.
With the FST at least, is I teach in the class, and then Miss Lee or Miss Schwartz would come into the class to see how I present the materials. For FST classes at least, I mean, I have the first 3 classes, and then she has the next 3 classes in the B days. And then I would visit her Algebra 1 class because I have Algebra 1 and B day. That way you can visit another teacher's classroom and say, hey, I'm presenting that same lesson, how did you do it instead? Or how can I be better if I watch the way that you present it? How can I do it better in my classroom the next time? Or what worked for you? How come it didn't work?
Teachers seeing other teachers who teach the same content, who are, the top in their field or exemplars, that's a good idea.
Because Miss Lee has been teaching for a long time. I've only been teaching for 6 years. So she might know a lot more, but at the same time, I know that I can contribute to her teaching as well because I just came out of college, so there's a lot of new educational theory that I can bring in.
I think all of us can, I think that's a way of professional development, of getting better. And yeah, I don't think our teachers would be opposed to it. I certainly wouldn't be.
So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be.